We're back.
It's your mom, friends. I'm Chrissy.
And I'm Jess, and we are two moms passionate about helping women fuel their minds, care for themselves, strengthen their relationships, and create lives they truly love.
Each week, we bring you honest conversations, practical tools, inspiring stories, and real-life strategies to help you navigate motherhood, marriage, personal growth, and everything in between.
Whether you're listening while folding laundry, sitting in the school pickup line, or finally enjoying a few minutes to yourself, we're so glad you're here.
So grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and let's dive into today's episode.
Let's get started. This is going to be a fun episode. We had to stop ourselves and say, whoa, we got to hit record because we were having fun, good conversations and realized that this needs to be a part of it. So I'm excited to welcome Demika, a special guest. Thank you for saying yes to coming on our podcast. Thank you for joining us today and sharing your heart. Would you take it away for us and just tell our listeners a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and what you do?
So, hey, y'all. I am Demika, and I am from South Carolina. So I do lots of things. I do all the things. I'm sort of the serial entrepreneur, I guess. I get these grand ideas, and then I've got a couple of friends that always kind of jump in and help me and support me with all the things. I am currently running a travel business and a concrete business. So that's been very exciting and unique. Learning all the time something new. Lately, I've been learning a little bit about TikTok and trying to not be an old person and go with the trends and learn all the new things. So I am very excited to talk with you ladies today. Worked in mental health, helping people with those type of things. My master's degree is in counseling. I used to work as a career development facilitator at the middle school here in my little small town that I absolutely love. I worked at the sheriff's office in our county as the victim services director there. I've had several little small businesses. I help coach other small businesses to help them scale and teaching them how to just do it. Do it scared. You got to do it. Just try it because why not? No regrets. So.
I love that, Demika. I just, fun fact, Demika and I met in person for the first time last summer. We connected on one of her, entrepreneur, I don't even know what you called it. You're a serial entrepreneur, right? One of the businesses that she was doing, I also did too. And we went to a conference in Atlanta, Georgia. And so we met for the first time and we became instant friends. And one thing that I loved about you was your personality and just how you're a person of service when you're around. It comes out of your pores. Like you are just there and so kind and compassionate and driven, and just you're the type of person that people need to be around. And I just loved your energy. And so I'm super excited that you're here today and that even just a little bit can come through people's cars or computer or their phones and however they're hearing or listening to this to get a little bit of Demika, because I think everybody needs a little bit of Demika. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Some people think they don't need any of Demika, and that would include shout out to my soon-to-be ex-husband. He knows. So anyway, it's certainly in between. So
Yeah,
I have one son. He's an adult son. He's 24, and he's an only child. But through the years, I've had many. So when I talk to people about my sons or my godsons, it's all the sons that I have inherited and I get to love on because, I'm a boy mom. I don't know if there are any other boy moms out there, but I love it. It's one of the greatest achievements. And one of the things that I love the most is having my guys and being a boy mom. So that teaches you a lot because they will hurt your feelings. But they will also love you very much too. Yeah.
Have you always been like this when you talk driven and just do it and do it scared? Did you have to go through anything to get to this point in your life where you're like, do it? Or have you just always had this drive in you that, just do it and do it scared?
So I think that I've always been very driven to do stuff and I've always had some different kind of thinking. So I've always wanted to take risks, to try things different, to do it my way. I used to be scared. I used to be very scared. And I would worry about what people would think, what they would say. Like I said, living in a small town. But a lot of things changed. I like to blame the Girl Scouts for teaching me how to be so outgoing and just to get out there and make it work. Like when people say no, you can find a way. And I like to contribute that to the Girl Scouts, but the little cookies and all, they had us going out there and getting outside our comfort zones way back then. But several years ago, I read a book called The Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. And during that time, I decided that I was going to try it, something different, and just say yes. That was my challenge, was to say yes. Even if I didn't want to, I was going to say yes. So that was a life-changing book for me that year. And I am looking forward to implementing the Year of Yes again because it's time.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that has really shaped my adult life here lately is the fact that a couple of years ago, I almost lost my son. He was in a near fatal car accident. So we were in ICU for 29 days. And during that time, there was a lot of unknowns, a lot. And I was very scared, of course. I did not know if he was going to live or die. I didn't know what his life was going to look like after that. There were a lot of quiet days and nights and a lot of prayer. So at that time, I realized, this was back in 2023, that some of the things that I thought mattered really didn't. And that gives you a whole new perspective. So the Demika you got today is due to God's grace in bringing us out of that situation. Because my son, he lived, he's doing very well. He's overcome several obstacles and continues to work toward coming through those obstacles. But like I said, he's my only child. And going through that had transformed me into the Demika I am today. And so that was the one instance I was glad that he's hard-headed, because he heard a lot of no's from the medical team. They were like, no, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. You will not be able to do this. You will not be able to do that. Well, with time and his perseverance, that showed me we can do this. We can. It may look different. It may take a little longer, but we can try and learn the lessons along the way and figure it out. So that kind of brought about the new me. So
What a perspective, huh? Instead of just like taking no, it's just like we can try and then learn along the way. I love
Yep.
that. And learn
Yeah,
along
there's no
the
such
way.
thing as like a coincidence. It all happens for a reason.
Sure
So
does.
And isn't it interesting that a lot of times it takes something unfortunate to like wake us up? Like we get so stuck in the rut of life of just doing the same things over and over again and doing it over and over again for 20 years and chalking it up to life. But it normally takes something like that that wakes us up and is like, wait, the stuff that I stress about isn't that big of a deal. The stuff that I say no to doing, why am I saying no? Like it really does. There's so many stories of something just like that where tragedy hits and it's like the wake up call that you're just like, there's so much more to life and I want to live it. I don't want to just get to the end and wish I had done something different, but ultimately really made those hard choices, did crazy things, lived instead of just survived. And thank you for sharing that story with us. I think that a lot of people can relate to that. It's something that unfortunate happens, but good can come from tragedy. I think we look at struggles and trials and difficulties as negative things, but man, to come through the other side of it and become different people because of it, it's a part of our journey. It's a part of our story. And we can let these things make us better or we can let them make us bitter. And to see you so full of life and be like, this changed my life and the way that I view things, like that's the purpose. Like life is tough. Hard things are going to happen. We're not promised an easy life, but to be able to grow through those things is a really, really, and to be able to teach our kids that, I wrote down, it's important to teach our kids to get out of our comfort zones. Like when you were talking about the Girl Scouts, like they have these girls hustling, going out, getting uncomfortable, talking to people, and you accrediting, so much to them. It's like, yeah, like we should be teaching our kids how to get outside their comfort zone, to do hard things. because look at you accrediting it, all these years later. It's like they are doing something right. They are teaching these kids something.
For sure. And then when you're in that space to where you have nothing, there's nothing you can do, nothing but pray. That's it. You can ask God he's the only one that can change things, and you can sit and you can think and you reflect. So I thought back because I'm at that stage now where I'm parenting 20 somethings, like they're between 20 to 25 boys. Okay. And they have their little girlfriends. I try to say I'm doing their husband training. And some of them I know ain't going to last. The girls, they not. And so even with some of the boys, I tell them nicely. I try to give them an opportunity to see this ain't going to work. But then we know what's fixing to happen. So we try to kind of help them and curb them and see if this is somebody we can mold and work with, and this is somebody you can be involved with the rest of your life. Somebody Mama D can deal with. And I am the helicopter mom to all the other children as well. But we can kind of see that. But when you sit in that space, and so I'm parenting adult children, and then I've got my mom who is also parenting her hard-headed adult child. Okay. And I think about when I sat in that hospital for all those days wondering, and when people started coming and calling and offering support and praying for us and asking what they could do, and seeing the impact of how much my son had influenced other people and how I had influenced other people. During those times, you see that. But then I also sat down and thought about, like, when he was younger in school and I wanted him to be on the honor roll, and make all A's, and we stressed and we studied. I mean, that's cool. But in the end of the day, it don't matter. Like, so what? Teach them to be good humans. Yesterday, I called a friend of mine. She's a friend of mine from school. Like I said, I call them kids, but I have all the guys here. So I called her yesterday and I told her that, because I've got a rule at my house. If it gets dark or I think they need to spend the night, they can spend the night. I don't care. I ain't going to stay up with them all night. They need to stay with me. And so mamas worry about their kids. Don't matter if they 5, 10, 20, 40, 50. Your mama's going to worry about you. And so I called yesterday and I talked to a mom that I went to school with, and I told her, I said, I just wanted to let you know your son, you did a great job with him. I said, he is always there to fill in the gaps and I don't have to say a word. So he's the youngest of the bunch. He's the baby out of all the older boys that are 20 to 25. I said, when we had first Sunday on Sunday, I said, he could anticipate what I needed and he did it. So as a mom, I wanted her to know that. He may not act right at home. He may not do what she thinks he should be doing. But when he's here at my house, he is a star. He is a shining star. If he sees me bringing the groceries in, he ain't going to wait. He's out there grabbing the groceries and helping me. And then he's like, do you want me to help you put them up? Some of them. This one, he's helping me put them up. He's figured, he's not asking. If somebody drops something or if he anticipates my every need. If he sees me moving something, he comes to help me move that. He'll say, what can I do? So I think it was, I tried to make sure I let the other moms know too. You did a great job with your son. You did a good job with your kid. They have the best manners. And so little stories people would come tell me while I was sitting and waiting and praying or waiting for my son to come out of a surgery. They would say, they'd tell me stories about something that my son had done, to them that influenced them or had stuck with them. I was like, really? And they'd be like, yeah. And it really made me proud. And I thought at the end of the day, it didn't matter that he, failed that test or this test or was showing out in this classroom or whatever. It's our job to raise good humans and not to forget that. And so this morning I was telling my mom, we talked every day, hours at a time. And I was talking to her about something she's stressing over. And I reminded her everything we had to go through, because there was a period where she was a single mom as well. And I reminded her, so what about that back then? Had that not happened, it wouldn't have made us who we are today. Because me and my brother did not lack for nothing. We didn't want for nothing. We were, nowadays, people call them bougie or whatever. So I guess that's what we were back then. I don't know what you called it, preppy back in that day, I guess you would say. But if there was something we wanted, like my mom was a single mom. She was struggling. She was trying to make it happen. But if he wanted a certain pair of shoes that came out, he would not settle for the other pair of shoes. He worked and make sure he got what he wanted. And I was the oldest. He would save and save and save, but he got it. And I was the oldest. So I would try not to ask for anything because I knew I had a little brother and that mama was trying. And she was training me, you know, how things work in the house and with the finances and all that. So I got a job when I turned 16, begged for a job. Got a job when I turned 16, worked 2 jobs that summer, and took the load off of mama. So if it was anything I wanted, I could have it. And I didn't have to ask her. I could spend my own money. But had we not been in that situation, that wouldn't have been ingrained in us, that hard work and the ethics and the drive, you know, so that had a lot to do with it as well. But even though it was tough and divorce was tough and it was hard for her as a single mom, then it made us who we are. Made us appreciate work. It made us want, and it shaped us, me and my brother, who we are today. And then, you know, when it was time for me to get rid of my first husband and the second, soon to be. But I knew then, it's unfortunate that my parents were divorced or whatever, but I know now that I can do it because my mama did it. And I knew it was better for us to be, you know, in a healthy household, you know, and to be happy because we're going to be fine. God's going to provide. It wasn't something that I had to put up with or raise my son in an environment that was negative, that he couldn't break any generational curses or cycles or whatever. Because some people live in a home and they think that that's how their mom or sister or whoever is supposed to be treated, or that this is what the house is supposed to look like. No. So
that's what I
life
hear you
happens.
saying. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm the interrupter.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I hear you saying to me, because, like, I'm not settling. Like, I'm not going to live in this status quo, the victim mindset, like, poor me, we have no money, I have nothing. It's like, if you want something, you go get it. You choose, you make a choice to do something different, to break whatever generational patterns or cycles there may have been, right? And so I think that's such an important message that you're giving right now. It's like, things can be really hard, and we can choose to either stay in the hard, accept the hard, or change it, right? And so what I'm hearing you say is like, you chose to change it, or your mom chose to change it. Your mom really started that for you, right? And then she influenced you, like, hey, look at her. She was able to go through that, and I can do that too. Instead of staying in the, I'm going through divorce, it's really hard, it's messy, it's, I don't know, I don't know your circumstances, but I'm just thinking, like, divorces in general can be high stress, expensive, emotional, all the things, right? And so instead of staying in that desperate way, like, you made a choice to be like, no, I'm not settling. I'm going to be okay. And I'm going to do things differently.
There's a quote that I use all the time, that, not to sound cliche, but we get to choose our hard. Like, both avenues are hard, you know, like staying in this relationship or staying in a job you don't like, or staying in, like, this is hard. Growth is also hard. But what one do you want to choose? And I think that that's a really cool, you know, analogy or way to look at things. It's a whole perspective shift. I am somebody, you'll hear me say this a ton, like, if you can change your perspective on the situation, like, you'll start to be able to create awareness and see things differently and ultimately make different decisions. Chrissy and I talk all the time, like, when you're in it, it's hard to see anything else going on around you, right? Like, you just feel like this is the only option you have. This is just what life is. This is just what it looks like. This is, you know, I'm unlucky, or I'm, you know, and it's really hard to get out of the situation when you're in it. But things like this, like hearing you talk, you know, we just had an episode that was released this week where we talked to Tiani, and, like, same thing, like, she took a really unfortunate situation and turned it into something beautiful. Like, we share these stories of, you know, being able to take from adversity, something beautiful can come. And, like, just hearing,
Absolutely.
you know, it's like, it is a mindset thing. I know it sounds cliche, but it really is a perspective thing. It's a choice. Like, we get to choose we're not always have a choice in what we're dealt, right? Like, not all things in life are within our control, but we do have a choice of what comes because of it.
and we count it all joy because
Yeah.
we know there's a reason for it
Yeah.
and that it's not in vain. And so, whatever
love
choice
that.
or decision you make, roll with it and do it joyfully with a smile, even if you don't want to. So it's just all part of the process. Like you said, it's that mindset is necessary in order to elevate to the next step. So
Yeah.
I just want to know, because I love that I am the mom who stresses about all the things. And I have a son who struggles in school. And this year, well, since he's been in kindergarten, his report cards have always been subpar. But those 3 little sections at the end where it talks about character is always top notch. Like he's respectful, he's kind, he's a he's a helper, he'll step in need. And I used to be like, that's great, but. And this year he's going into high school. He was in 8th grade last year. And he would come home and he'd be like, Mom, I got to tell you something. And I'm like, okay, what happened? He's like, I didn't do well on a test. And I'm like, dude, I don't care. Like, I
exactly.
want you to get to a point where I understand you need to turn in the assignments on time, because for me, that's like a responsibility thing. I want you to learn responsibility. I don't care if you get an A on it or you get a D on it. I want you to turn in the assignment on time. So that's like something we worked on this last year. But I'm like, I don't care if you're an A student or a C student. I want you to pass, but I want you to be a good human. Like, that's what I care about, but it took a long time for me to change that mindset, because I felt like it was a me thing. Like it reflected on me as a parent. Like, if he's a C student, is the teacher like, well, this mom doesn't study with her kid? Or, it was almost like it was like my report card. Like, if it's not doing well, it's a reflection on if I'm a successful mom or not. And I'm like, this kid has a heart of gold. That's what I want to nurture. That's what I want to, that's what I care about. And I love that you validated that for me, because it's taken a long time for me. Me and him used to butt heads. We used to fight over grades and homework and assignments and not doing well enough. And I'm going to hold you to this standard because you have to. And I'm like, I'm doing more harm than good here. Like, I can't. My daughter's a student and a half. I don't even know what her work is. She gets it done. She gets really good grades. She could probably teach the class. Like, she is just, I don't have to worry about her. But him, it was like, it's always a battle. It's always a struggle. And I'm like, I don't want this to be what our relationship is about. Because at the end of the day, like you said, he'll ask for help on an assignment, and he'll say why do I even need to know this? And I'm like, you don't. Just pass the thing.
Exactly.
Just get it. You're never going to worry about this again in your life. I promise.
Yeah.
I do think that we put some unrealistic expectations on ourselves as moms. Like, we hold ourselves to a bar because our kids are a reflection of us. And if they're not doing well, does that mean that we're not doing well? And I think that I bought into that for a long time.
I think most people do, I think most people do. Meanwhile, Emily, she was all excited. She got high honors, but that's not the point of this conversation. She also got 100% attendance. And I was more proud of her for the attendance than I was for her grades. And she couldn't understand why. She's like, why do you care so much about attendance? Like, I got high honors. And I was like, because you showed up every single day. And that is important, because that's hard too, right? Oftentimes and thankfully she didn't get sick with anything, right? But sometimes we just don't feel like getting out of bed, or we just don't have it in us. And despite all of that, she was able to show up every single day. And that to me is important. She's not going to get 100% attendance every year. It just so happened to be a really solid year for her for 8th grade. But I think that's important. I think teaching our kids to be their best selves, to be kind humans, to show up even when you don't want to, because we're not always going to have the motivation to get stuff done, but we still have to show up anyway. And that is such a lifelong skill that we can teach our kids, and quite frankly, ourselves, right? We're not always going to feel like working out. We're not always going to feel like getting up at 5 a.m. We're not always going to feel like cleaning the toilet, right? But we have to do those things anyway, right? So I think that's another important thing, is what type of humans are we trying to raise? And how do we model that ourselves? Which you model that, Demika. I mean, from all the things that you do, right?
I try.
Yeah.
Golly. Some of them, I don't know. They may say something different, but it's tough. It is tough. And you just want them to do good and do their best.
Yeah.
Like you said, give your best effort 100%. And then just to kind of segue into that, I love doing all the first with the young ones. Even when I was at the middle school and when I worked there, I always tried to put forth an effort to make sure they had these experiences. that we took these trips. And when we went on our field trips, that we maximized absolutely everything we could see and do while we were on those trips. So, like, fortunately, I was able to travel with Brevin while he was younger. So we wasn't getting 100% on our attendance. I'll tell you that now. We were not. We were not. We were going anywhere that was cheap for us to travel. If it was cheaper for us to go to the Bahamas in January while everybody else was in school, bye. You said we can miss 10 days. We missing 9 on a vacation somewhere. But when Brevin was like in 6th grade, that's my son. When he was in 6th grade, this is before everybody had a phone. People were starting to get their phones, And he came to my office one day. He's like, Mom, can I borrow your phone? I'm like, for what? Supposed to be in social studies, And he was like, well, we were talking about the Mayan ruins and we were there. You took pictures. I want to show my class that we got to go visit the place where we're talking about in class.
So cool.
And then I was like, oh, okay. And so like in 8th grade in our small town, we've got 2 small towns that combine and make a big high school. So most of the kids from kindergarten to 8th grade from that small town are together, just them from beginning to 8th grade, and they combine schools in the 9th grade. So me and some of my colleagues would always make sure we made that 8th grade trip a memorable one. And we would get them outside of our small town, because if we didn't, they may not be able to experience that again. Some of them would never get out. I hate to say it like that, but it'd be highly unlikely that they would go to Washington, D.C., to Atlanta, to Charlotte, to Columbia. So we just kind of wanted to make sure that the kids have these experiences outside of their norm. And so that, like you said, as long as they're doing their best and learning how to get along with other people, see other cultures, and appreciate things that are outside the box. You're building the box. You get to decide what the box looks like.
I love that.
So, yeah, that's been very interesting with this. So now I get to, some of them are still going on their first plane rides, their first cruises, all those fun things. First concerts, some of them. So
I have a question. This lifestyle, sometimes I think that this like say yes lifestyle, do it scared lifestyle can get maybe mixed with like running ourselves into the ground, kind of being a little bit of, like always on the go. Like I think that sometimes we misinterpret being, do it scared, do it before you're ready, say yes, show up, do the things, make the memories, like say yes. I think sometimes that we mistake that for like draining ourselves. Always say yes, always be on the go. How do you kind of keep yourself grounded and full? Like, how do you keep your soul full and like keep yourself just not running on E, like allowing yourself to refuel while also maintaining the lifestyle of like, I'm going to do the things. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to build the business. I'm going to help the people. I'm going to help raise these kids that aren't even mine. Like, how do you do all of these things without depleting yourself?
So you have to say yes to yourself as well. And you have to recognize what your boundaries are. So even if you do say no, it may not be right now. It may be no for now, but you can always revisit it again. So that's my perspective on that, because I try to look at it based on the circumstances. Like maybe I can't say yes right now, but I can say yes later, and I might come back around to it and revisit it. So I keep these lists and things. But you got to kind of see how it fits and how it works for you at that time, and then saying yes to yourself.
Right.
So
I think if it aligns with the values, right? Like, what are my values? Does it bring meaning to me? What's the purpose of the yes, right? Am I saying yes because I'm a people pleaser? Or am I saying yes because I want to do it and it aligns with who I am and will bring me joy and all the things, right? So I think there's some inner reflection that we got to do when it comes to the reason behind the rest.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
excellent.
Yeah. Just Demika, so you have a business, you have a concrete business, you have a travel business, right? You're raising your boys. You do a lot. It sounds like you talk with your mom daily for sometimes hours, which I think is so special. That's so cool. What do you do for yourself? Like, how do you say yes to yourself? And is that how you say yes to yourself? because sometimes I feel like all the things that you do might be the very thing that keeps you going.
Yeah, it is, actually. It is. And so I take time to watch some trashy reality shows, and so the guys will watch it with me. They don't like it. They'd rather be watching fishing or something like that. But if I want to take some time for myself to watch one of the, reality shows, they'll entertain me and let me do it. But it really keeps me going.
Yeah.
Like, there was one weekend I said, we're not having any company. Nobody's coming over. Y'all don't have to find something else to do. I need me time. Saying yes to me. And then I felt so bad. Like, it was okay for like 2 hours. But then I was like, I wonder what they're doing. Do you think they miss me? Yeah. What you doing next weekend? I'll start texting them or whatever, and they call me during the day. I talk to they're mine. They're mine. I know they got their own mamas and daddies and they think they're grown, but, and they are, but they're still my babies. So, but I talk to all of them like several times a day throughout the day. And that is just who I am.
Yeah.
That feeds my soul, helping others, seeing how I can assist them. I give them a little bit. And a lot of it's up to them. I'm not carrying the load for them, but I can lead them and help. And I do take time for me, and they let me do that too. So, but I think that brings me the most joy is being able to help somebody else on their journey or to be there to see what they need. How can I help them? Because at the end of the day, none of this other stuff matters. And it's just the little things. Sometimes you just, I don't
It's
know.
the first thing I like
what
I
fuels
said that it comes right out of you. It's like your energy. As soon as someone is in your presence, like you feel it, you experience it. That's just who you are at your core. So I'm not surprised to hear you say that. And then I'm also not surprised to hear you say like you were really dedicated to getting those middle schoolers outside of their small community and experiencing new things. And now you're a travel agent and trying to get people to experience new things, right? And still being of service to others, but in a different way, right? So tell us a little bit about, before we close up tape, tell us a little bit about your travel agent position or what you do, how you do it, all the things.
So I just like to find other people who want to travel, might want to go with us, that need a break, that think they can't afford it. You know how you choose your hard? I mean, you figured out you're going to buy, I'm not judging anybody, but some people smoke, some people vape, some of them are buying cigarettes or beer or whatever. That's fine because I have my vices too, but I choose how I want to budget my money. And that's not negotiable. We got to travel. So if you want to travel, there's a way. So I loved helping people find that way to make memories with their families, to reset and rejuvenate themselves, to see the world and all that God has created. That's just something I kind of did as a hobby, but it's turning into a fun hobby. Is helping people learn how to explore and see all the things. So my son and I have always gone to concerts together. He and I, and we got very good broad taste of music. He listens to everything, and so we started going to different concerts. And as I get older, the concert experience for me is a lot different than these youngins. And I want to know that they're okay and they're all right. But I can't be driving at night. I can't see. I can't. I'll pay the money for the concert, but I don't want to be bothered. Get older. So on a whim, I started planning these bus trips for the concerts that are local to our area. So selfishly, yes, I want to go to the concert, but no, I don't want to drive. And no, I don't want to have to spend a ton of money on junk food when I get there. So I've been curating these bus trips, like that are day trips for people who maybe can't be gone for days and days at a time, but they want to be like a staycation or something to explore or something to do right here in their own backyard or at home. And I've loved being able to see the different generations of people who are traveling, going to concerts.
So cool.
And we get to know each other and make new friends on the bus ride there, and just getting together. So that's been something fun that we've been doing. Some day trips, some concerts, some cruising, all inclusives, all that kind of thing. So it's really more of an experience and helping people see the possibility of how they can plan and curate these awesome experiences in life. Make it fun. Have something to look forward to.
That was so cool. I'm
That's all.
dropping the link to your, I think it's Pack Your Bags Today. in the show notes. So if our
Yes.
listeners want to check out what you're doing
Thank
and
you.
booking a trip directly through you, that'll be in the show notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. So we went to see Morgan Wallen in
Awesome.
Clemson. Yeah.
Awesome.
And we're going to see Ella Langley coming up soon. And I just love to see these Ella fellas. Like, I didn't know it was more than my fellas that went goo goo gaga over her. But apparently there's a whole thing. So,
That's awesome.
yeah,
That is
those are really,
awesome.
really fun times. Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for hanging out with us on MomFuel Mindset. If today's conversation spoke to you, take it as your reminder that happy moms don't come from doing more. They come from choosing themselves and owning their growth.
And if you loved this episode, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another mom who needs a little fuel and a mindset shift today.
Until next time, keep showing up for yourself, keep growing forward, and remember, happy moms own their growth.
See you soon.
See ya.